All right. Hey, Masters. Welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery podcast. And today we are with Mr. Fernand Mellinger. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing good, David. Thanks for having me, man. I'm very excited to
Absolutely.
be here.
I'm excited for the conversation on AI. I know it's on everybody's minds right now. It's all over the news. It's all over the government. I mean,
Everywhere.
it's everywhere, man.
Yeah.
So just to appreciate you coming on and giving us some clarity. And just for people to know, like who you're listening to, you are initially part of the group that did the research and started Google, correct? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
going way
Yes.
back.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of ages me. I mean, I guess that's the gray beard. Yeah. In the 90s, mid to late 90s, we were just kids. It's not like it was, I try to tell people all the time, it's not like it was, we were like, oh, this is Google, because it wasn't. It was Backrub. Um, so we
What
were
was it?
just
It was called Backrub.
Backrub, like
Oh wow.
backlinks, so yeah, with anything with SEO, backlinks is what helps things get the ranking within the algorithm. So we were trying to design that algorithm, and code it and patent it because it was the newest search, and we were just transferring data from real world, like hospitals and doctors and lawyers, and taking that data, turning it into code, and making it a useful search engine. It was back when the AOL CDs were being passed out to everybody. So,
AOL.
yeah,
Man,
yeah.
remember
So yeah,
AOL?
yeah,
The dial-up. You put
yeah,
your
yep. That is it. That
yeah.
is it, man.
I still can
Yeah,
remember the first, like, I don't know why, but when you said that, every time I hear AOL, I vividly see myself sitting in my living room at a certain computer, listening to the dial-up sound, and
just wait and just
it's
staring
so
at the
weird.
screen.
It's kind of, and they're waiting, right? It's kind of like one of those things, man. Everybody knows where they were, on September 11th,
Yeah.
and the
Oh, yeah.
OJ chase is another one
Yep.
of those crazy times, and then
Gosh, you're
for
right,
whatever
man. You're
reason,
right.
the AOL the first time I went, I don't know why, but
Yeah.
it's
That was yeah, I remember those days very so yeah, that was Google back then. It wasn't and then it became Google. They didn't really take care of any of the team other than the very close team that they were with. We kinda got pushed to the side, and that's kinda what made me start my own agency, but yeah. Um
awesome. Well, let me tell people who you are. I mean, you are you started your career, as we said, doing searching algorithms for a company that would one day be known as Google. Your role in the initial stages of development, the world's biggest search engine that's given you special insights and helped you become an impressive or build an impressive portfolio of partnerships in AI and biotech companies, fitness influencers, social media apps, and digital marketing agencies. In your latest project, you're on the executive board of Outlier, an AI web app that promises to change the way we do stock market trading. So, man, I'm excited to have you here today, man. Man, we could also go in that direction too with AI, stock market, tech, not tech, but like crypto. I don't know. I'm guessing you're in that you play around in that space. There's a lot of talk right now about Bitcoin and everything happening in that. Do you play around
Yeah.
in that space too?
Oh, yeah, yeah, I'm big into crypto. Unfortunately, Outlier isn't and it's mostly just for stocks and, just regular stocks, not for the crypto. But yeah, I'm all into crypto, and I think things are gonna drastically change between AI, Web3, um, the blockchain kinda being used, NFTs being used, in more efficient ways, such as think plane tickets or train tickets, car sales,
Mm.
those types of things, concert tickets. So you have that ownership to that piece of NFTs, and that's how things we think from what I've heard within certain organizations of where things are gonna shift to.
Yeah. So we'll keep it to the AI then, and then but so let's go there. I mean, when it comes to AI, I think the average person now is pretty familiar with like Chat GPT. I think when most people hear AI,
Yeah.
that's what they think of as Chat GPT. But talk to us about AI What are you, what exactly, I don't know if I say what is a good question, but what should we be paying attention to when it comes to AI?
I think in regards to AI, it's looking at what your focus, what your goal is, because there's so many different language models that are out there. They're called LLMs, learning language models, and it's just specific to what you're learning. Like ChatGPT has gotten pretty known because of OpenAI and their learning language model that they have, which is ChatGPT, 3.5, 4, now 4.5 is on the horizon. Uh, it ChatGPT basically is just taking a mathematical approach to what you're putting in. So it's saying, in essence, let's say you type in, my wife and I and our son are going to the, and you leave it. Mathematically, it's going to go through an equation to look at what do normal people go to the park to do? Is it to play? Let's say that would be a 96 percentile answer. To barbecue, maybe that's 78%. To play football, maybe that's 50. To mow the grass, maybe that's 5%. So it's giving you the most mathematical relevant equation for what you're typing in. Now, Bard, on the other hand, which is another learning language model that's on Google's end, specifically goes out to the internet to research what it's doing. So it actively is going out there to help you find those answers on the internet. And there's a number of different learning language models that are out there. It's just a matter of what you are trying to do yourself. So ChatGPT, because of OpenAI, has gotten a lot of play. I mean, 5 million users, I think, in 2-3 days.
Crazy, yeah.
It's I've been working with ChatGPT since 2016, 2017, I believe, where I was developing an app that had AI involved with it. And so I'm seeing what it's doing now, and I think people just need to realize, look at what you're trying to do, and then get familiar with it. Start asking questions before you go in for your final, result of what you're looking for. Start playing around, asking questions, so you can learn what that language model, and it can learn you, of what you're doing with it.
So when I go to the Chat GPT again, there's a 3.5, right? 4.0, and now you said a 4.5. Is the difference that now it is researching
Faster,
access to the
more
live?
access, and now yes, now and it's multimodal now, so it's images, sound, it's more than just text that you're able to get back. So now you can type in because it's got access to Dolly to where you can actually get an image back and not have to go over to Midjourney. So
So say that
it's
again. So how does it work with what happens with the images?
so sorry. I'm a big nerd, man.
No, no,
I
it's
do
good.
this
It's
a
good
lot, so
'cause
you'll have to stop me.
I feel like I'm a little bit of a nerd, but I'm not even following you. So I want to
So
slow it down just for our listeners.
yeah. So with ChatGPT 3.5, that was not multimodal, which means it didn't have access to multiple modes of uh, uh, what it's spitting back to you, the information it's spitting back to you. Now with GPT-4, it actually has access to images. So you can type in and it'll go into Dolly and say, I want a picture of, a green cat standing next to the Grinch on Christmas Eve. And it'll give you an image, it'll spit it back to you. So that's the abilities, but you have to make sure you're choosing the right model. So like when you go into ChatGPT, there's going to be a drop down, and you'll be able to choose which model you're using. So ChatGPT 3 and 3.5, everybody's kind of familiar with that, but I would recommend going into 4, and I think it's GPT-4 Preview 1106. Think that's the number. Use those, and then you can really start that's going to change everything as we know it with the GPT-4 and on.
So is that the paid version? Do
Oh,
you have to
yes,
pay
yes,
for
I'm
that?
sorry. Yes, that is the GTP Plus, so you'd
Got
have
it.
to pay the $20, I think it is, a month for it, yeah.
So I think about myself when it comes to ChatGPT, and I do have I have an app that I keep on my phone. It's called Ask,
Oh yeah,
AI. Are you familiar
yeah,
with it? It's a
yeah,
great app,
yeah.
and I paid for it a while ago. It wasn't a lot of money. I think I got a
Right.
really good deal. I paid like $60 or something for like
Oh, nice.
lifetime access, like a
Yeah, that's
year ago.
good.
And but that I don't use like nothing against Google, but I very rarely go to Google anymore. I just drop everything in there, and it gives me exactly what I'm looking for. And it not only gives it to me, but it kind of breaks it down a little bit more,
Yeah, the
which
organization
I
is
really like.
great. Yeah. It's I think we're gonna see a lot more of that there's a lot of things coming out right now that are like GPT wrappers, which is what we're using on the phone. It's just a wrapper of accessing GPT on an API access. Excuse me. So, basically what it is you design your app. The API is just going into ChatGPT and then returning the prompts, and you're just programming each prompt because everything in ChatGPT or any language learning model is going to be a prompt. So whatever you're telling that AI you want it to do, that's the prompt. The more detailed the prompt is, the better your results and the better the outcome is going to be, of course.
Mm, yeah.
So think of when you're going into ChatGPT when you're trying to do something, let's say for your business. Um, be specific and say, "Look, I'm trying to design a," or what I usually start off with is, "You act as a," or "You are a," let's say, "email marketing expert." So if we're on the subject of email marketing, "Please help me, um,
Mm.
design and construct, 3 email segments to follow up on a sign up form that I have for my website at dot 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 HTTPS. So it has access to it because it's basically like your friend. It's like an assistant. So the more that you do this and the more the prompts that you give it, the more specific they are, the better the output and the more idiosyncratic that output is going to be for you. So most people are putting in generalized things, outputs that they're coming back. So that's why things seem so
Same.
generalized. Yeah, yeah. So if you add in your specific idiosyncratic values or what you're asking for about your specific business, it's going to know and then it's going to spit back to you exactly what you want. And then you can also go into it on the next prompt and say, make it more friendly or make it more professional or make it more sarcastic
Yeah.
or act like Grant Cardone with your response, whatever you want it to be. As long as it understands, then it's becoming so much more smart, almost like a human being, which is amazing.
Yeah. I was watching there's Lex Friedman, you know who Lex Friedman
Yeah.
is? Yeah,
Yes.
he's amazing. He was
Yeah.
interviewing Elon Musk a couple weeks ago, and I mean he gets all the good interviews, right?
You're right.
Uh, Elon, I think he had Jeff Bezos
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
I've got to get to that level, man. Just listening to those guys' perspectives on it too is absolutely amazing. But think about I want to go back to what you said about the prompts, right? So I'm seeing so like I'm a marketer, right? I'm a sales trainer, and I also help people. And I see like I'll see emails like you as soon as you see them, 100%
That it's coming.
that was created on ChatGPT,
Those are
right?
all from the prompts not being correctly guided. And basically, so there are, I don't know how many words there are, but there's, I think, like 300 words that are associated with being AI content. So in your prompt, you have to now go in and tweak that and say, with the result that you give me, do not use these words such as
Mhm.
groundbreaking. All these
Up
crazy.
level up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So you have to specifically tell it, do not use these words because you don't want it being associated. Again, you don't want it to be associated with generalized AI output. Um,
Could you
so
say that? Could you just say that to it? Like, would it get it? Say, "Listen,
yeah,
I
you
want you to create
could. It
something."
may you could what I would do on a let's say, like, on a first run basis to see and to Guy, I would say, give it the prompt and then say, "Do not use any AI related words that now are being recognized as AI driven.
Mm,
Um, if you feel you need to use those words, find a synonym for that specific word that's relevant to what I'm asking you to do. So that, again, the more specific you are in your prompt, the better it's going to be in its output. So I have some prompts that are 6, 7 paragraphs long, that just tell it what to do because I need certain H1 tags. I need certain things bolded. I need things put into a list. I need things put into an Excel spreadsheet, which it will do for you. You just have to ask it and tell it how to break up those specific cells. But you can have everything mapped out for you. Mind maps. You can. It's absolute. ChatGPT 4 has changed the game as we know it. It really has changed things.
Well, you just sold me on the upgrade. So I've been using, with the exception of the app on my phone, I've just been using the 3.5 on my desktop.
Man, I'm excited for you to dig in because it's when you see what you can do, what it can do for you. Not only that, I had I was writing some code in Python. It's a little nerdy, but my code wasn't spitting out what I wanted it to spit out, and I was throwing it back. So I went into ChatGPT 4 and I said, "This is my Python code. Act as a Python expert. Figure out what's wrong, fix it for me, and spit out the correct code that I need to feed in to where this will work." And it did. It gave me the correct. So it's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I love that. That's probably my biggest takeaway so far is to act as a blank expert, whatever,
Yeah.
right? Whatever you're looking for. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
What would you say are some of the mistakes that you're seeing besides, people just throwing random stuff out there and you're starting to see all these emails that look exactly the same and text messages, and what would you say are some of the other common mistakes you're seeing?
That's a good question. I see because there's so many. I would have to say, I think people are getting a little. They're becoming more. They think because it's so easy, they can just ask it to do something, and without instructing it, that's why everybody's getting crappy results. It's because they're trying to just kick in something so fast because it's there, and they're not really researching what this AI can do for you. I mean, this is not just for writing emails. This is such a powerful AI, and in order for you to understand it, you've got to ask it more deeper questions. And just like I had it fix a whole code for me that was developing an app that I didn't have to send this to any freelancer for or pay for any of that. I just had ChatGPT look at the code, run through it, show me what was wrong, and it fixed it. If that's a business, imagine what you're going to be able to do with certain issues that you're having within your business. You just have to be open with chat. And I think what people are doing is they're just going into it, make me some emails because I want to sell, or I have Amazon products, so make me a bunch of emails that are selling this product, which is so generic. And it's like, everybody's doing this. And what you're teaching this model is just to spit out generic, gibberish. And that's why we're seeing it come. I mean, I know what you're talking about because I get them like every day. I'm like, okay, this is ChatGPT, block. So yeah, you just that's not ChatGPT's fault. That's the user's fault because the user now needs to go in and say, my business is, explodinggolfballs.com, and I'm trying to sell 63 of this line by January 1st. Can you give me some options because you're a marketing expert or act as a marketing expert on how I can do this? And then you can take that conversation even further, like you have a consultant right there with you. ChatGPT knows way more than anybody you can pay and has access to that information faster.
Yeah. Sorry, man. I didn't know if you were done talking. There might be a little bit of a delay.
Where I think people are going with, I think they're just rushing and they're not using it to its fullest capabilities.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of just getting stuff out there as fast as possible, not really thinking it through. You know, I have a grant. I'm a trainer, and I have a grant, a couple grants with the state of Massachusetts. We have what's called the Workforce Training Fund,
Oh,
but
nice.
it only goes up to 100 employees. Now there's another grant available, which is called the general grant, which is for companies over 100 employees. So I wanted to find out if I should apply to get a grant, to get this grant as well. So somebody gave me a good piece of advice, because you know, you look at it and it tells you all, you know, it's like 7 pages of information on the grant. He said just copy the whole 7 pages, drop it in the chat GPT and ask them, like, give you the 5 most important points from that.
Let me give you one even better.
And
Drop
but
that,
it worked. Even that worked, man. I was like, wow.
yeah, or
Yeah.
you can drop that link into Bard. You can take the whole link because Bard's a different language learning model because Bard will go out and reach out to the internet. So you can take that link from what, and this could be for anything, for any school test, for, you know, it could be
So
560
ChatGPT to link the link to, or is that just Bard does the links?
Bard does the links. ChatGPT may give you some kickback and say, I can't access this, or, you know, give me this information. But with Bard, you can literally just drop that link in and say, give me like you said, give me the top topics of this. And what it's going to do is it's going to kick it back out to you in a much more beautiful uh, uh, UI, because it's a lot different than ChatGPT. So you're going to get a nicer looking response from Bard. It's almost like it's a walk in the park compared to ChatGPT.
Okay, so Bard is
Is
Google's
Google,
version.
yeah, that's yeah. Google is it's so, and then there's Anthropic. There's tons out there. But those two are probably the ones I use the most because they're the most reliable, the most trusted, the most advanced. Amazon's got some too. I think they're all coming out with them, man. I mean, they're all over the place. My idea is to try to, just a little hint, my app is trying to bring all of them together, and then with the response it gives you, pulls out a weighted response. So on a mathematical equation, it's going to give you the best response from all AIs pulled together, um, that I'm trying to build right now. So,
Wow,
and
is that Outlier? Is that what you're talking about
no,
now?
no. Again, I'm a big nerd, man. So like, I'll be sitting there on a Saturday morning. I'm like, I'm gonna go design this and do something, you know, like that. But no, Outlier is just purely stocks, and I didn't really have anything to do with that
Got it.
algorithm itself.
Okay, so as far as I well, before, what I want to do is in a minute I'm going to open it up. So if you're on Clubhouse and you have a question, just raise your hand. I will bring you up. We have time for a couple questions. There we go. So very quick. Someone was like, I have a question. All right. Let me ask you this, because the reason that, and now it's clicked, but the reason that Elon was on Friedman was they were talking about the new AI, which I think it's called Gore. I forget what it's called. Do you know what I'm talking about? They're launching an AI now.
I don't know the name of it though offhand.
The big thing behind it is it's supposed to have more personality.
Yeah,
And
which can be dangerous in a sense too.
why do you say that? Could it be dangerous?
You know, I talk about this with my wife all the time. Just because I know where technology can go, and where I've seen it and what can be developed with these algorithms. If so, you've got the whole aspect of control that we all don't like. Of course, nobody likes to be controlled. But then there's the aspect to AI, is how far do we take this without having it under control? Because it's AI, it's not us. It's not like a sentient being. It's a very uh, mathematical approach to things. There's no human emotions. When they start talking about it can feel, that's when things start to scare me a little bit, because now we're taking it out of the realm of control to where if it feels like the control is too much, it's going to be smarter than you. It's going to have access to a lot more information and data. Not only that, but it's AI, so it can tap into that data easily. you're the human that has to ask permission for the API and then go manually hook it. The AI doesn't have to; it can automatically do. So it gets a little scary when you see things taking it to that level. I could be, barking up the wrong tree with this, but I know technology is moving pretty fast as we all see. So I think that it has to be controlled at some point. It has to be, or else it's gonna go crazy.
Yeah, it was interesting when I go back to that interview again. I think it was maybe Jeff, maybe it was Elon. I don't remember which one it was now. They were both so good, but Lex had asked a similar question about is it going to be like the Terminator and take over? And basically what Elon said was, I have faith that no, that won't happen, but it's possible it could happen. Right? Like that was pretty much his answer.
I have faith.
Like,
so you don't have a definite answer.
But based on what you said, though, it could happen, right? I mean,
right.
And the odds are, it unfortunately there's a probability that it could happen.
100%. I mean, I'm not dealing with, but I have associates that are dealing with AI that's even now talking to individual parts of, let's say, piping. When you have piping that's for water. Now, when a certain pipe breaks, it's got an AI brain that's fed into the cloud that says, "Oh, this part, A1B36 has just burst. This repair person needs to come out and fix this. We need to shut off this valve. This is the piece that goes in with this. If you don't have it on stock, it will be ordered or shipped to you, or you can go pick it up from." So AI is going to be changing things every which way we go, for the better, granted. But think about we all know not everybody is like the best person in the world. So think about the crazies that are out there that are trying to use it for bad. So, and if it's not controlled, then that's the part that I'm always saying, like, please and thank you. Like, always trying to be its friend just in case it does turn into some like Terminator.
It's funny you say that. I heard that. I heard that as a joke. Actually, I went and saw a comedian, and he opened up for Dane Cook, and he was saying, "I am very nice to my AI. I always say please, and I say thank you." And everybody was laughing, but you just said the same thing, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Like you want your AI to like you, right? Like
100%, man. I don't know what they're up to behind that screen. We don't know. We're just asking questions and feeding it knowledge and giving it more and more and more knowledge. So, and what's cool about it, what I love is it learns, 'cause language learning model. So it learns from what it's being fed, and that's what makes it better, and more efficient and faster. So it's real to me. It's fascinating. I think it's absolutely
fascinating. No, me too. And I'm excited to dig into the 4.0 or whatever version they got. The best version is what.
Yeah, 1.106. I think it is. Yeah.
And also, I mean, I use another tool for images. I think it's called AI Arta, but I'm also.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with that, but
yeah,
it makes amazing images. But I'd love to get everything connected through one. So
ChatGPT, yeah.
Cheryl came up, but she's actually on the phone right now. So, let me ask you this: what would you say? What do you think? I named this "How Entrepreneurs Are Winning with AI." So give us a way right now as an entrepreneur that you can win with AI, like starting right now.
Okay. Let me I have to kind of get a scenario because everybody's in different spots of their entrepreneurial journey. So let's go with a scenario of where you're just starting out. And you need to be an entrepreneur. You got an idea, you got a business. Let's say you're just starting out. I would look at, because being an entrepreneur is about being smart and organized and making sure that you have everything put in place. So I would look at what you're doing.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, right?
Yeah,
hopefully. Well, if not, you're going to get in some trouble. And it's just going
to. I don't mean to interrupt, but to that point, to what you just said, I'm wondering, because there's so many entrepreneurs that the reality is most fail.
Yes.
Majority of them, very, very high majority won't
100%. Yeah.
succeed. So I'm wondering if AI, and you probably will answer this question, but it's like maybe AI is so a lot of these guys that normally would have failed, they're not going to now.
Well, let me I would have to counter that with saying I think it's an individual problem. And I think it is, as I know, an entrepreneurial mindset is a very different mindset. It takes someone very different. And if you're trying to enter the entrepreneur game and you have an employee mindset to where you're dependent on that check or that's what you're used to, it won't work. It's just the vibrations don't match up and it's gonna be rough against each other. If you are familiar with the hustle and the bustle and knowing what you're worth and not having someone else tell you what your worth is, then 100% you can make it work. But I think that's where the prompts now come in when you're using them. So if you're an entrepreneur just starting out, I would look at it. I'm just going to take my experience, like from what I can remember when I was just starting out. I had a point where I had lost uh, pretty much everything. We had invested into the cannabis industry and it fell apart. So I had nothing. I had my stuff from Google, but I didn't, to me at that time, I didn't know. I thought everybody knew it. And my wife was like beating me, like, "What are you talking? Nobody knows this stuff." But I was like, "It's 2005. Everybody knows this." Like, so
Knows what? What when you say this? What?
like SEO, how to rank things,
Got it.
how the
Okay.
algorithms work, and so I've always had that to fall back on. That's just in my brain.
Got it. Okay.
So when we lost everything, if I would have had access to ChatGPT, I would have said to it, "I need you to act as a first. Look at what we're in. So if you need to get new business, like right. So if we need to find new business, I would say, please act as a marketing expert and help me find th- the most significant industries that would be looking for my service at this price point, whatever your price point is." That's another lesson on entrepreneurship, know your worth. But it, look at your price point and then have it help you plan that out. Now it's going to give you a list, kick back of these specific industries. What I specifically would do in that time right there is I would look at those industries and then I have this thing in my mind where I call it the client acquisition ratio. So I would look and see what my services cost as opposed to what that specific client is bringing in. So if it's a liquor store and they're selling packs of gum, it doesn't make sense for me to go over to them and try to be a marketer for them because they're going to have to sell 300 sticks of gum just to even break even. And that's not possible. It doesn't make sense. So you have to have the reality set in. This is where ChatGPT, I think, can help guide you with these things. So then you target it down to what your specific client acquisition ratio is, what you're going to be charging for your services within industries where people are comfortable paying for that specific price point, which ChatGPT helped you. Then I would then go in and say, what areas are the most saturated employment of these industries within the US? So then it would kick and please break that down into a list in an Excel spreadsheet of states with geographical areas. So now it's kicking back to me an Excel spreadsheet that I can read from that data. Then from that data, I would go and say, okay, I can see in California, New York, New Jersey, I'm going to make this much more within that amount of my services. So then I go back and say, okay, within the New Jersey area, can you please, as a marketing expert, can you please help me plan out a landing page to target, let's just say lawyers,
Wow.
personal injury lawyers, and please include Creative Common images. If you can't find Creative Common images, please use Dolly to provide images of related sources that are associated with this specific service and this specific industry. Again, it's all prompts. It's prompting, and I've been doing this since forever. So to me, it's really simple. But it's just like talking to a human being. You just want to get that. So and then from there, so now you've got the landing page. Then I would say, okay, please write me an ad based on the ads, I would go to Bard for this. I would go to Bard and then I would say, please design me an ad as a marketing expert that's based on the top ads that are being run for this specific service to this specific industry. Now you've got a plan. So now you've got ads, you've got a landing page. Then all you got to do is everybody's got, 12, $13 in their pocket. So now go into Google Ads and run those specific search terms to that ad and see what's going. You've got to niche it down though. So this way you're successful on the entrepreneurial journey, meaning you're not wasting time trying to figure out, oh, I'm going to go see this all the time. I'm going to go to my local area because I can just go down the street. That's not how wealth works. Wealth is out there scattered and you've got to go find it. And the way that you find it is you break down the data, and you've just got to spend the time with the data. Once you understand the data, now you know where you can spend your time, and you're spending it wisely, because we don't get that time back. And I think with entrepreneurs, the reason they fail is they're not spending their time wisely. They're sitting there trying to get these clients that are $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 clients, when there's clients out there that are willing to pay $10,000, $12,000 for that same service, but you're not spending the time with them or looking for them. So someone else is going to get that client, and therefore you're going to go out of business. So I think using ChatGPT helps within that, but it's got to be specific. You've got to be so specific with it.
Yeah, detail, more detail.
Very.
So we have Cheryl. Cheryl came up. Cheryl has a question. How are you doing on time, Ferdinand? Are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm good.
I know we plan like 45 minutes. Are you able to go a little bit longer?
Man, I make my own schedule, man.
All
Whatever you need.
Love it. Yeah, this is a great conversation. So Cheryl, are you available? Do you have a question for Ferdinand?
I sure do. This is such a great conversation. It's totally added to my morning, made my day, in fact. So thank you both of you for your time. And David, I love your rooms. We need more like this. I do have a question. What is the demographic? Like, what age group is mostly using AI? Because, I'm 58. Actually, I think I turned 59 the other day. I can't remember. But, I have a large following. I'm not that, with women over the age of 50. And I'm like trying to tell them, you got to use AI. And I just can't seem to get them to have any interest in it. Like, am I explaining things wrong? I mean, I do a lot of images with Midjourney, and I'm supplying these images to this group in emails, and they're freaking loving it. And I'm like, okay, you got to learn how to do this yourself. But, it's just, I was wondering about that age group. Again, they're all mostly over the age of 55, maybe a lot of them over 65. And where would they be using AI? I guess that's my question. Any ideas there? And is Bard going to be in Canada one of these days? Like, it sucks being Canadian sometimes. So thank you. Those are my questions.
Yeah. Is it okay for me to answer, Derek?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. That's question for you, my man. Yeah, not me. You don't want me answering that question, brother. That's for sure. So,
hi Cheryl. Happy birthday, by the way. I think, that's a very good question, because I run into that with, I'm almost 50 myself, so it's not like I'm any younger, but I run into that trying to speak to my generation and telling them, look, don't fall behind, because this is what's going to happen. And I think you're going to see this shift soon. And I'm just hearing this from some of my government contract industry people. AI is taking a lot of people's positions. And if people aren't going to learn how to operate and use it to aid them, they're going to lose their position, unfortunately, because it can be done quicker, faster, more efficiently. So I think the best way for people to start understanding that is make the conversations fun. So if it, like for my mom, she's 70 something. I have to tell her, hey mom, throw in you're trying to figure out, how Chick-fil-A nuggets are made. Why don't you just go into ChatGPT and say, act as, a secret Chick-fil-A employee and give me the recipe to how the Chick-fil-A sauce. It makes it fun for them. Same thing for shopping. Same thing for style. You can use it for anything. It doesn't just have to be used for business. It can be used for anything. And I think the best way to get people using it is just to get that introduction to them of start you and what you're going to start seeing soon too, and I don't know if you have, but you're going to start seeing these little AI little inputs everywhere, and or like little sparkly things. They look like little sparkle little things. They're going to be start putting it everywhere, whether it's going to be Google, whether it's going to be Android, whether it's Microsoft. You're going to start seeing all these little AI prompts for everything. So I think in time, people are going to be forced into it without really knowing they're being forced into it, because it's being implemented into pretty much everything. I mean, it's also being implemented when you're going to buy a car, when you're going to get oil service, all these little chat bots. The majority of these, because it's so much more efficient to have it feed into an AI bot that feeds into a knowledge base that can answer questions. The money that saves on support for companies is huge. So the more that this is being implemented across the board, I think people are going to get used to it. But you are right, 100%. So many people are following me behind, and I don't know if they think it's difficult. I don't know if they think that it's just not interesting. I think those people are going to kind of be sorry when the time comes, because AI is moving so fast. I think you're in a great spot, Cheryl. Keep it up. Keep designing those images.
Thank you. One of the first ladies that signed up on my course, and I am not an expert, I'm learning like everybody else, and I am just so in love with Midjourney. And I still use the artists that I've used over the years, so they haven't replaced the artists. They're actually giving me better ideas to give to the artists for some concept drawings and stuff. But the lady that did take my course is 75, and she's from Australia, and she absolutely loved it. And she said, well, I'll have to go over this with my grandchildren and children. They're like IP text, they're all these sort of texts, right? But she's done it on her own, and she's impressing them. So I'm trying to come at the angle of, you want to be able to talk to your grandkids, impress them with this sort of stuff, you'll blow their little minds, just anything, to get them, encouraged to do this, because I feel like they're going to be left behind too. My mom is 82, and I helped her with a business plan for just to present to a boss at the time, and she was blown away by it,
Yeah.
and it was an area. My mom's been a nurse for 50 some odd years now, and it blew her away. So, and she's 82. So there's such exciting things to do. And I just, I don't want that older generation left out. And well, thank you for this. And any word on Bard coming to Canada?
Oh, yeah, Bard is, it should be getting access soon. You may just want to check and see if you may get normally when things are released in different countries, if we don't have access, you can go and join the wait list, and as soon as it's available, you're added. But another thing that I would do is I would challenge you also to take that questions that you just asked me and type them out and throw them into ChatGPT and say, I want you to act as a
Smart.
marketing expert for the elder generation. Please give me some suggestions of how I can get them more interested in using GPT to help them out in whatever proficient manner that they need. So you may get something very special back from that.
It's a mic drop. That's
That's right. Thank you.
That's awesome, brother. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Cheryl. Great question. Appreciate you as always. I see Valerie. Valerie, we have time. We have time for your question as well. So, Valerie, do you have a question for Ferdinand?
Yes. Hello, David. I love the conversation. I'm so glad I popped in the room real quick. I have a question. I am a beginner with with AI. I really want to start utilizing it in my business. My business is like, self-care, beauty products, helping people start their self-love journeys. And I've been on it for a few years now, and I feel like I could share my experience, right? So I want to write a book. I've been talking about it for the past year, just thinking about it though. So I'm just trying to see how can I utilize, or is there a specific chat GPT that I should use to help me create my book?
Oh, I love this question. So once you start learning the power of ChatGPT, I may be giving away some of my secrets of kind of how I build my wealth, but you can again, it's prompts, but what I did with ChatGPT is, and this was with 3.5. This wasn't even with 4. This was like a year ago. I took a idea for a move or a TV show and a movie. I got the rights to that, so I wrote to the Writers Guild, and then I did a copyright for it, so I owned all the rights to it. And then what I did is I went in and I had ChatGPT build out a storyline for me. So it built out my storyline with my ideas. So basically for you, it'd be like, I'm been in the skincare business for this long. These are the problems. These are the things that I've encountered. This is what I know works. Write a structured, I'm not trying to give you what I would do if I were you. Write a structured plan separated by chapters of a 300-page book. So what it's going to give you now is it's going to kick back to you your introduction, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, all your chapters. Then what you do is take that information, put it into a Google Doc, because you need to make sure that everything is organized, and what it's kicking back to you, you're now linking to each subsection of that particular book, magazine, whatever you're doing. So now go in from that specific prompt, go back to it and say, now please help me write an introduction based off of these specific facts. And again, these are where the prompts are so important, to where you need to have it understand who you are and what you've been through and what you know and what's different about you. It's going to kick back that to you, take that, and you can say, please expand more on that. Please add to that an experience that I had about eating salad with mandarin oranges, whatever it may be. I'm just making this up. And then add that to your introduction. Then now go back to it and say, please help me write chapter 1. That's about, the journey to losing weight, whatever it may be. I don't know. I'm just making these things up. Now you have this whole structure to where you're going to have ChatGPT guide you to write the whole book. You can have this thing done for you within a day. Go to Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, get listed as an author, sell that, and build a landing page and start using that to bring in business to your new brand.
I love that. I love that. Oh my gosh. Wait, hold on, y'all. Like, who is this David? I don't see him on the stage. Is this a podcast?
So
How can I follow
great
him?
question. So actually, if you go up on the top, you'll see my YouTube link. Click on the YouTube. You can actually watch it. It's actually being streamed live on YouTube right now, by the way. I probably should have said that earlier. But yeah, make sure you go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, and then you can literally jump in. We have Heather Cox on here is commenting away. We got a few people right now watching live on YouTube. So yeah, do that as well. And actually, why don't you tell people, Ferdinand, the best way to get in touch with you as well while we're on that topic.
You can go to my site, ferdinandmellinger.com. That's kind of it. You can get in touch with me there. I think my email is I'll just give my email. It's ferdinand@blue.digital. That's my main company, Blue Digital. So it's BLUOO.digital. That's my main company, like my holdco that I do everything through. But yeah, you can get in touch with me. My goal, too, just so your listeners know, is if I can help in any way to where you can use this to build your entrepreneurial journey in a successful way, that's all I care about. It's a very easy thing to do. It's not like I'm not anybody special, guys. Like that's not. I'm just a normal nerdy guy that just digs into information and I apply it, and I've used what my mentors have taught me. So if I can use this to help you, but the key now is go do it. Don't listen. Go do it. Get in ChatGPT right now. Get that introduction planned out. Get that Google Doc planned out. Get that landing page. You got to do it, because it's fine that we're talking about it. It's cool, but you got to go do it. That's what's going to get you the results.
Yeah, that's it's funny you say that. As we're going into the new year, I've been doing a lot of goal setting workshops, and we talk about A cubed, which is attitude, approach, and activity.
I
And
love that.
those three need to line up, and sometimes people have a great attitude, but their approach is off and it goes nowhere. Some
Right.
people have great attitudes and good approaches, but they don't ever take activity, so it doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
And so I think you just gave a great approach to a lot of people listening to this, and now it's just about getting your attitude together and then just taking the right activities and making it happen. So I just appreciate you saying that. So I just so as I was listening, I dropped a question in ChatGPT. So and I says, so here's my question. It's interesting. So what would you ask an AI expert on a podcast about AI? And it says, what recent advancements or breakthroughs in AI have caught your attention, and how are they impacting various industries? That's not a bad question.
Yeah, that's where ChatGPT 4 comes in. I think with that multimodal, being able to access that on one platform. Meaning before, because before you had to go to Midjourney and it was prompting an image, and to prompt that image, you'd have to put like design or imagine, or it's an image prompt, a lot different with a / so it's a lot different than what ChatGPT is, because it's just you're typing in a prompt. All of the coding has been done underneath everything. So with the multimodal, what happens is you have now that text that you can say, design me a marketing image. And like, think it was Cheryl, you can take it back to your design team and say, this is my idea that I have, just clean it up. So that saves you time. I know with my design team, sometimes we go back and forth to where it's like, okay, that's not it. No, it needs to be this or it needs to be that. You can now just do that with ChatGPT with a regular conversation, and it's saving you the time. It's saving you that energy. It's saving you that money. Same with gosh, if you're a lawyer, throw in, the case and have it broke down for you, so you're not sitting there for 4 hours reading through everything. If you're looking at a contract because you just got invited to be a part of a company, have it break it down and say, act as, a high-powered, let's say business attorney within this contract. Does this benefit me? And show me the parts that benefit me the most. And that way it will pull that out so you can see. That's what I do a lot of times with my contract. I did that the other day with one of my safe notes. You just got to use it.
It's interesting. As I'm reading through these questions, it gave me 10. I mean, you already addressed ethics. You addressed the job displacement, right? Here's another one that it pulled up, which I think is very interesting. It talks about bias. How can with the rise of AI, what do you no, that's a different hold on. I was just looking at it and then my screen just went down. It asked about the biases in AI. How do we and this is this is actually a takeaway from me. Like, I should be doing this before I interview people, right? Like,
I'm telling you,
I've had my
change everything.
Yeah, because this is brilliant, and these are a lot of these questions are questions I wouldn't even have thought.
That's
ask.
it, man. I'm telling you, AI is so amazing. It's way better than any human being. And when you learn how to use it to your ability, like what I did, I took all of that whole thing, made a script, took the rights to that script, wrote the script, submitted it to the WGA. I did that all in like a week. Who else can do it? It was all help with AI.
All right, so here's my last question, and it's from ChatGPT. Well, I get two more questions. This is the one that you sent me that I didn't answer. But how can we address biases in AI algorithms, and what steps should be taken to ensure fairness and inclusivity in AI applications? So really, it's a bias question, right?
Yeah, that's where it gets difficult, because you're putting a box around it. You're putting limits. And that doesn't, depending on which way you look at it, that doesn't apply for a certain bias, or it's applying more of a bias. So it's a very touchy area, which I'm interested to see how it's being approached. I know there's different people that have different views on what to do with it. Um, I don't know where it's I don't know where it's gonna go. That's the interesting part. I because you have different governments now that are building models off of, like, TikTok, they just got their whole model got banned from OpenAI, from ChatGPT. I don't know if you heard about this, but their
No.
whole model got banned, and their account got banned from ChatGPT because TikTok was going in on the back end underneath the code using the learning language models to program their learning language models. So it's going to start showing up pretty soon in the news. But yeah, it's
Well,
yeah,
isn't it biased anyway, just because it's built by, is it built by programmers and developers? So wouldn't it
well,
have
see,
their biases?
that's the okay. So now we're going to get a little deep if you want to go there. So if you want to go there.
Yeah, I love going there because this
All
is
right.
real.
So one of my very smart friends involved in AI said to me something the other day that made me really kind of think about all of this. It was like, wow, we don't know what we're doing. But he said to me, and think about this because it's so true. He goes, "We didn't find AI. AI has always been here. We've just now tapped into it." And I was like, "Bro, like, why did you have to go there with me with this? Like, because you know how my mind works." So I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, so AI has always been there, which it has because everything's been built with the access. So, you know, I think if we use AI the right way, putting again, it's going to be a biased, it's going to be a biased way, but you're going to have to put some rules on it. You have to. I think that's for security of countries. I think that's for respect to different identities of people with different races, creeds, genders. So I think there's has to be a bias on some. Has to be. There has to
Mm,
be. Or else it's going to run wild. And
that's a good
then
point.
we have a lot of issues that now, because it's not a sentient being, that it doesn't understand because it's not a human being. It's not a different race. It's not a certain gender. It's just applying what it can. So I think bias does have to be put on it. There's going to be a lot of kickback on that though from certain
Yeah,
people. So
absolutely. Because what bias, right? Like whose bias should be? Yeah,
that's it.
that's another whole. That's a whole
Yeah,
another whole
it
podcast.
can keep
So,
going. Right.
all right. So the question that I always ask the guests to give me one question. And your question was, what was your biggest learning experience over the past year?
Biggest learning experience over the last year.
Yeah, you sent me the question. You didn't have
Yeah,
a really quick answer to it.
I think my biggest learning experience over the past year has been to um, make sure that I've grown a lot over the last year with my wealth. So is just make sure that your contracts, if you have kids, um, include the generational wealth aspect. So I have my son in every contract that I do now. I have him written in as a third partner. He's 10, but he's written in as a third partner. So a third of my income that comes in from every partnership goes directly into accounts for him. He can't access it yet, of course, but but it's just something that I think we have to do as men, as fathers, mothers too, of course. I'm just speaking from my own personal point, but I think that is something that I really learned is it's not about, the cars, the vacations and all the cool stuff. It's really about generational wealth. And that's what I really have been working on this past year is just building for my son, my son's son, his son. It's 4 generations deep that we're working on. So we're working on the numbers for that. And then I have an accountant that comes from 4 generations of building wealth for 4 generations. So they know the exact numbers you need, what each generation needs. And so, yeah, that's take your kids into account and just throw something in. on a contractual basis that goes directly to them. Then they're set, because we all know how hard it is once you leave at 18 and you fly with your wings, and you don't have that help, and I just feel as a parent that's what we're here to do. That helps to, build the next generation and put them in the right place so that we're not struggling.
Amen to that, I love it, man. So I appreciate the conversation. It was awesome. Anything else that you think I should have asked or I didn't ask that would
No, man, I loved it, man. This is great. I really appreciate your time on this. This was a good, meaty conversation. I loved it. That was really I loved it. Awesome.
Now, if somebody wanted to work with you, what would be the best way to figure out if that's a good fit?
Yeah, reach out to me. My Ferdinand is Ferdinand at BLUOO.digital. And I'm always willing to help people who are willing to help themselves. I don't come into a situation to where, I'm the only one pulling the cart. We've both got to put something into it. I know how to build wealth and I know how to lose wealth too. I'm really good at both. I just choose, to keep my wealth. So, so I've seen both sides. So I really want people to understand, the benefits of having, things planned out, organized, using AI to better your business, to become a better business person. So I'm always willing to help, because I have this determination and this thought in my head that if I can help people build wealth, especially on a millionaire level, then we can all be friends together and change this world together, because we've got the money to do it. I can't do it on my own. And I know a lot of my friends that are building their wealth, we just need more help. So it's like the more people we can teach to build, and money's not hard. This is not difficult. This is so easy to do. So the more people we can help to do it, it's going to help us change the world, because we all know it's not going in the best direction right now.
Cool. Well, congratulations on your success. And congratulations on being an awesome dad. I am also consider myself an awesome dad, and so
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
man, it was an honor. It was an honor having you on the show. Appreciate it.
Well, I hope we can get together more. I'd love to invite you on my show as well. And
Let's go, man. I'm ready. I'll send you an email.
Yeah.
And when I mentioned how does somebody work with you, I was actually thinking about for myself. So
Yeah, man, I'd love to, man. I'd love to. Let's,
Right.
to me, it's just kind of like, I guess because I'm such a nerd in algorithms, like when I build them, it just piecing things together and knowing where they need to go.
Yeah.
My wife she hates it because I have all these notebooks around with things that are linking to other things, but that's just how my mind works. So yeah, I'd love to, man. Yeah, let's
Awesome.
do
Well,
that.
it's funny, and we can. I'd love to get your thoughts on this, but every year, at the end of the year, we come up with a word. I think it's very common. A lot of people like, this is my word going into the new year, and for
Yeah.
me, my word this year is focus. Like I tend to get shiny, not shiny object, but I can change direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
My focus, sometimes in certain things, like, I've had this podcast for 6 years, so I'm focused there. But anyway, I just think, like, as I'm listening to you, I was making notes and I'm like, how can I use AI to stay more like that's what I'm excited about now, to learn, like, how can I go in there and figure out some of the ways to stay more focused with AI, and some of the tips and tricks and tools, and
Oh
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the other thing that popped, and then I'll shut up, is well, I'm not even gonna say that.
No, go ahead,
What are
man.
your thoughts on the words? Well,
Uh,
so okay, I'll say it. So here's a question I thought about asking the AI. Although I know what I'm passionate about, I know what I love doing. It's just, for me, it's not switching directions.
sure.
But
Yeah, yeah.
but I thought of this question for the AI I've been using for a year. Based on all my past questions, what do you think I'm passionate about, or what
Mm,
direction should I be going in?
that's a good. Well, I think what I know what it's going to say back to you is it may come back to you with, um, let me ask you some. It may ask you some more questions to get more clarity on
That would be
Um,
brilliant if it asked me more questions.
Yeah, it will. And the one really cool thing is again, it's prompts. So you can say to it, whatever it kicks back to you, you can say, please rephrase that and give me more clarity and make sure that your answer is no longer than 250 words. So now it's giving you a lengthy,
Mm.
reasonable answer for what is the most probable, solution behind that. So it's really cool to what you can do with it. I'm excited for you to see what you can accomplish with it because it's only going to make you stronger, efficient, smarter. Um, it's an awesome platform, man. I
Mm.
mean, all these AI platforms that are out there, it's just we're in such an awesome time right now. Like such an awesome time.
Well, it's as I'm not exaggerating when I say I probably use it 10 times a day, right? And that maybe that's not an extraordinary amount, but for some people that's a
Yeah.
lot, right?
Yeah.
But I've never even thought about using it for like how to stay focused, how to
Oh,
achieve a
man.
goal, how like even the questions on the podcast. It's kind of weird. It's like I wrote.
Oh, man, wait till
So
you start seeing what this can and then when you get really good with it, it'll spit out the answer to you, and then you'll start breaking it down in those answers. So if you need questions for a podcast, it'll give you, sub, questions that you can ask that are offsets of those. It'll give you a wrap up.
I just lost audio. We lost audio. Can you guys hear?
I could hear you.
Yeah, we lost the audio, unfortunately, on Ferdinand, and I don't think he knows it. Ferdinand, you there? We just lost audio. I don't know what happened. Well, unfortunately, we audio on his end just went out completely, so I'm not sure what just happened. I didn't touch anything, so well, I can't hear anything, brother. It just completely went out. You guys can still hear me, right, on Clubhouse?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. We just lost audio for some reason. I'm not sure why, but well, listen, that just means we need to do round two. That's right. To be continued. That's it. To be continued. So, appreciate you guys all being here today. Thank you, Ferdinand. We lost the audio for some reason. I don't know why, but so, I don't know if you guys can even hear me on the stream. So I'm gonna end the stream. It was an awesome episode interview with Ferdinand. You can get in touch with him. His company is BLUOO Digital, and his website is Ferdinand Mellinger, which is FERDINANDMEHLINGER.com. You there, sir? No, all right. I don't know what happened, but so we're gonna wrap it. Hey, listen, appreciate you guys. Make sure you share the episode. Make sure you go out there, subscribe, give us a review if you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next episode.